Hey, we are up and running. My friends, how are you? I hope you're good. I'm having a pretty good day. If you can see, the setup here is a little different than usual. That's fine. Maybe the tech's not perfect today. Hard to say. Maybe it is. Um, but I'm having a better day than Sam Bankman-Fried. And I'm having a better day than Sam Bankman-Fried's um, lawyers. I don't think we are on YouTube. There's just these two computers here. I don't think we have gone live on the YouTube app.
I'm watching.
Maybe we have. Nope. J Fam says happy Halloween. Hey, I'm dressed up. Whoa. I'm dressed up like a lawyer today who doesn't have court. What are you dressed up as, J Fam? You don't want to tell me? That's fine. I get it. Oh, I'm ready. Okay. Yes, I do seem to be live. Thank you, Mama 1968. Listen, this is my second time to go live, and I'm not the best at it. Oh, you dressed as Jason. That's terrible. Wow. I don't like creepy stuff. Life is hard enough without people trying to make it scarier, even just one day a year. But speaking of having a bad Halloween, we have got to talk about your friend and mine, Samuel Bankman-Fried. It has not gone well for him. It's not worked. His strategy has not done for him what he had hoped it was going to do. I am really surprised how poorly it's been. Wow. So Carl Tanner, now I think I can click on this. Yeah, I click on this and it says, Carl Tanner says, greetings from Kazakhstan, which I'm pretty sure is Canada, but maybe that's an inside joke. And I'm not going to watch you. I'm not going to let you watch me Google to see if that's a real place. Man. So what I told you last Friday, or maybe it was last Tuesday, was that my assessment of his situation was that there's a chance that if he testified and he just it was perfect. He found a juror who was dumb enough to go along with him or whatever. He might be able to not be found guilty. But if he testifies, he's going to alienate the judge and increase the amount of time that he spends in prison, presumably where he's watching this archived footage. Presumably, we don't know. It's so hard to say. So hard to say. 1 to 115 years. I mean, I have said already in some of my prior videos how long I thought he was looking at. I want everybody on the stream right now to tell me how long you think it's going to be. Let's get some groupthink going here and let's compare it. And if you think he's not getting convicted, just put up a 0 and we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're all speculating. Now, I'm a lawyer and I have a neon logo that looks pretty fresh and hot, but I don't actually know what the answer is. I just know the reasons why the number could be higher or lower. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the judge to try to figure it out. So while you all are thinking about how many years he might be looking at for this, let's take a look at this great question from None of Your Business. Should Friedberg be charged with criminal conspiracy? Man, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the DOJ hates dirty lawyers. They hate them, okay? And they should hate them. It's bad for the legal system when lawyers who are in the system break the laws, help other people break the laws, and are basically a tax on the ethics and the morality that it takes to run a country by law and not by like a dictator. Bad lawyers are bad for that system. The DOJ, if they had the goods, would go after him. In my opinion, I think they would. And so they have Singh, Wong, and Ellison, who all had interactions. Well, actually, Singh might not have, but they had interactions as a group with Friedberg. And if there was enough there to get him, I think he would have gotten already. So that's my answer there. Newtane Hatwobble took a break from work to get in here. I see you. I see you. I don't have a shirt for sale. I do have a shirt. I'm wearing 2 shirts right now. I probably will sell some shirts. I love my logo. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Actually, I kind of love it. I didn't come up with it, so I can be proud of it. Oh, I don't know what a bald spot is, so I'm just going to skip that part. But listen to this from Aroborg. Stop, stop, stop. He's already dead. So obviously, I haven't been inside the trial. I have consumed as much coverage from both lawyers and journalists and the actual transcript of his testimony as I have had time to do. But one of the journalists who was covering it said the cross-examination started out like a murder and then ended up like they just kept stabbing the dead body and she wasn't sure what the value of that was. Okay, I'm going to flash some guesses up on here. Mike says 50. JFam says almost 70. Mama says 30. Wait, hold on. We're not talking about how long I might do. What? No, this isn't about my criminal charges, Newtane. 20 years minimum, none of your business. Yes. Carl Tanner, thank you for this. So this is, wow, this is very close to what I said last week, which is 40 at the low end to 70-ish at the high end. Don't quote me. I'm quoting me. I'm not sure I'm quoting me correctly, but I think I got it right. We got Ray says 12, less than 20. Ooh. Okay. Minimum 18 from Prejudice Potato. We got 12 years from Paul. No more guesses. So for now, I'm going to weigh in and say that man, it would be so weird to me if he gets less than 40. And I don't want to just throw a number out there and walk away from it. What I want to say about that number is that when he testifies, when he takes the stand and he basically, oh man. So it's a big deal for me as a lawyer to say that someone has perjured themselves, right? And I don't want to say that about him. It is perjury when you are under oath and you say under oath in answer to a question that you know the answer of, I don't know. It is perjury when you remember something and you say, I don't recall. That's perjury. So I'm not here to say that SBF perjured himself either on Thursday or Friday or Monday or today or all of the above. I'm not here to say that. However, dude conveniently did not know stuff that we all know he actually knew. He said things like, oh, I didn't really look into this, or I wasn't too concerned with, let's say, the source of the spreadsheets or reviewing all of the spreadsheets that Carolyn Ellison prepared for him at his direction. Now, as I said in my video posted earlier today, the future of FTX rides on. The company lives and dies on whether they can get more funding from Genesis. So this Carolyn Ellison working on this series of spreadsheets, the choose your own adventure of personal finance, is not a situation where someone's ordering a cake for a birthday party for an employee at FTX. It's not like that at all. This is the actual life and death of the company. He says, he didn't really spend that much time on it. The judge is going to take this into consideration when he assesses a sentence, because showing remorse, taking responsibility, all of those are things that you can't effectively do if you take the stand and you just straight up say, no, wasn't really me. I didn't really know about that kind of stuff. I wasn't really involved in that. It's ridiculous. Yeah, good point here by None of Your Business. John Ray III has filed a civil suit against Friedberg. And if based on the information that Ray has and that the insiders who flipped on SBF have, the U.S. attorney doesn't have enough to already have charged Friedberg, then I think the answer is probably they're not going to do it. That's my guess. Now, Eddie Lyons asked this question. If SBF is convicted, why should he be sentenced to more time in prison than many murderers get, at least in countries other than the U.S.? That is a great question. That's a question that it's a little bit, you get a little choked up in your throat when you think about the reality of the difference between destroying someone's financial life and taking someone's actual life. Because the taking of a human life is just so much more egregious. It is. It's just worse in every way. There's probably some people watching me right now who think that murderers get too long in prison. And then there's probably going to be a lot of people who think that they don't get long enough. And of course, it varies. And people get out of prison, even for murder, for less time than they actually get sentenced for. But it's really hard to think about the scale of what he did as an economic crime. I mean, it really is kind of apples to oranges when you compare economic crimes to bodily crimes. But I want to do a little thought experiment with you, Eddie, to get you where you are thinking at least similarly to how I'm thinking about this. I'm not comparing this financial crime to murder, because that doesn't work. It just breaks down. And really, financial crimes don't really compare well to any bodily crimes. But let me have you steal $10,000 from one person. We'd say, okay, well, we got to punish him. We got to tell everyone that's wrong. He's got to go to prison. But it's just $10,000. We're gonna put you away for a year. Okay, well, that's really not that long for $10,000, in that you can go to prison for a year for stealing $500, because $10,000 gets you up into the felony range, which is far above the 1-year misdemeanor. But just stay with me. If we say $10,000 is worth a year, well, he didn't steal $400,000 to get 40 years. He didn't steal $4 million to get 40 years. He didn't steal $4 billion to get 40 years. So If you just say, you know what, we want to give him 1 hour for each $1,000 that he stole, he gets a life sentence. Well, if someone stole $1,000 from you, chances are you would say, well, it's not really enough. I wish that they were in prison for longer than that. Or maybe you're not that kind of person. But a lot of people would say that. And I can't say that they're wrong. It's a lot of time. But dude committed allegedly, and we'll know if he committed it or not after the jury reaches its verdict. But he committed a lot of crime allegedly. And so I really don't have a problem with a super long sentence for him, just because the amount of lives that he disrupted, not to say bodies that he injured, but the lives that he disrupted. I think, as JFam says, it's the sheer amount of money involved in the fraud. John Fakington. I love that name. Wow, that's great. Oh, that's great. What if SBF took one of the crypto betting markets on his own conviction, like Polymarket, before 24 and ties it with a smart contract that pays out to some juror if that guy hangs the jury? Great idea, John. I feel like John Grisham, if he understood crypto, would try to write a movie that's similar to the plot that you've just laid out. Or, and I'm just spitballing here, he wouldn't know how to do it because that time has passed him by. But the reason it won't work in perpetuity is that if the jury is hung, the DOJ will try him again. They are not going to walk away from him. Remember, one of the reasons that we believe, that we speculate that they didn't offer him a deal is that by association, he's made some powerful people in politics at this time look bad. And because of that, they're going to make sure that he gets punished. They're not going to give him a deal. And if he does figure out a way to hang the jury, which ain't by doing what he's done recently, but I mean, if anyone could send someone some money on the black market, you would think it would be him. But skills, life goals, etc. Man, they would just try him again if that happened. How is determined how long someone like SBF gets in prison if convicted? There are sentencing guidelines. So on my last stream, I talked about this a little bit. I'm not above talking about it again, but not for too long, Jacob Kitty. I don't want to bore people, but here's the deal. In federal court, there are sentencing guidelines passed by Congress. They are only guidelines. There was a revision to the authority of those guidelines a few years ago, which allowed judges more discretion to operate within the framework of these guidelines. They have a lot of leeway as it is right now. And the reason guidelines exist is so that a judge who is inflamed about the facts of the case doesn't overdo it, and or like is kind of sweet on a defendant and doesn't want to give him or her enough time, that they don't do that. In reality, prior to sentencing guidelines, the amount of freedom that trial judges had was shown to result in racist outcomes that disfavored African Americans through at least the 1980s. That should shock no one. That's what we got. So the judge is going to decide the length of the sentence. Let's see here. John, your second question about the tampering is that if he has this kind of money, he could get it done. And the answer is yes, very much so. I don't know anyone who knows someone who knows how to jury tamper, but it does happen. It can happen. So it would not surprise me if it did. No, what? You know what? I shouldn't say that. I saw my nephew call me on my phone. I got distracted. It actually would surprise me if it happened. I'm just not willing to say it can't happen. It's bad, but it could happen. Let's see. So, yeah, you and I agree here. You say he perjured himself allegedly. Like, look, the dude, like, whatever else you think of him, he's not an idiot. Okay. But for about the last 3 days, he played an idiot in the courtroom, and he didn't convince me. I don't think that is a way for him to show the judge that he's somehow remorseful, not really at fault, shouldn't be sentenced. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's see what we got here. I'm just scrolling down. Hey, Marcus Schaub, are you related to Matt Schaub, the quarterback for the Texans and the Falcons from way back in the day? Schaubby, they called him. It pleases me to be able to make videos like this because I like explaining what I know about the law, because this is a country that is trying to be governed by laws, and not by people, but by rules. And I want as many people as possible to know the rules of the game. And the easiest way, the best way for me to reach people is to talk online, specifically YouTube, about how the law interacts the stories that we all follow, whether it's famous people or celebrities, people in the news, or just horrific crimes, whatever there is. So if that's your vibe, if you want to know the rules of the game, I would love for you to get down below and hit the subscribe button. Just pound it like the U.S. attorney was pounding Samuel Bankman-Fried on cross-examination. Ouch. Actually, don't hit the button that hard. You could break it. Wow. Carl Tanner says Dante famously placed fraudsters lower in hell than the violent. Of course, that's medieval sensibilities. We have capitalism. That's right. We're pretty much running the whole system around making money. And in medieval times, which I know a little bit about because of my age, really? No laughter for that? That's fine. Whatever. Okay. Just that's kind of a thinker's joke. You'll have to think about that for a while. In medieval times, dude, life was short and it was painful and there was no money. Everybody was poor except for like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And everybody was in pain, and it's a different world now. So, yeah. Yeah, I would love to know. So I'm new to streaming, and my producer does not have access to the comments right now in order to block the creeps who are misbehaving. Oh, nope. She tells me that she did. She does. She's so good at her job. She did it without access. That is power. Just took us a little while. Carlitos, people are jealous just because he's rich. Wait, are you talking about SBF? No. That guy is not rich. Now, he was spending other people's money for a while. He is not rich anymore. He needs rich people to support him in prison for the foreseeable future. It's an interesting question, Eddie. Is it a reason to extend his prison sentence because the crime involves a conspiracy? So there's some thinking we need to do on both sides of this issue, and I'm gonna linger on this for just a second. So I hope that you're still on. I know I'm running a little bit behind, but here's my thought. When you are involved in a criminal conspiracy, there are some social checks on you, which should have acted to deter you. These are people in your life, either that you brought into your life or they brought you into their life. And you guys should be able to lift each other up in a way that makes it so that you don't do criming together, right? That you hold each other to a higher standard. And because you all failed each other, that makes me feel a little bit bad for each person in the conspiracy. Like my friends, such as they are, would not go along with a conspiracy to commit a crime. They barely even go along with a conspiracy to go get a burger with me. In fact, now that I think about it, I'm not sure these people are my friends. However, the flip side of that is that if you're the corrupter, and in this situation, I mean, SBF is at the tippy top of the food chain here. You've corrupted other people, and you have actually turned the direction of an enterprise, which by itself doesn't have to crime people, to crime. And I can't stand that. And so I don't know if I'm willing to sign on to a rule that says a conspiracy should always get like an upward push inside the range of the sentence. But in this one, because they weaponized programmers, customer service agents, marketers to extend the reach of their wickedness and the way that they hurt people, I'm fine with giving them more. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is a great question. Sort of unrelated, but as an attorney, do you often find yourself walking on eggshells with the things that you say on TV? On TV, I can't even read. It doesn't say TV. It says YouTube. Walking on eggshells, no. However, because I have real clients in real life, I try not to be a jerk. I don't want to do anything on YouTube that puts my clients in a bad spot or that makes me less useful to them. Because of all the things that I can be in life, I want to be useful to society. And one of the ways that I can do that is be useful to my clients. And so I try to be careful with the things that I say. Would not say eggshells, because I feel like walking on eggshells is kind of framing it in the negative. I would just say positively, I want to be someone who builds community, who educates people, and who helps people enjoy their role in society. And so to do that, I got to be responsible with my tongue. And so does everybody else. So I kind of know, not really, but maybe a little bit in the way that you said. Thanks for that question. I love it. Let me get down to some other ones here. I can't skip over Kerwin's question about the parents because, this guy didn't show up on planet Earth with the skills and the inclination to do what he did. He developed them over time. And his parents, I mean, they really, oh man. Here's what I want to say. Kerwin, do you have kids? I have kids. My kids are not going to commit financial crimes. I mean, they won't. They may do some other things, but they're not going to commit financial crimes. And if they do, they won't do it on the scale that SBF succeeded at. And therefore, I'm just saying that to say, like, look, his parents were involved in some level. Was it criminal involvement? I kind of think it wasn't. I honestly, I think that the DOJ is charging where they can get convictions on a case like this, and they don't have the goods on the parents. That's what I think. Let's see here. Oh, JFam, I can't stand to put you up here yet again, but I agree. I totally agree with you. Thank you. Kerwin, for 40 years. I get that. Marcus Schaub, you hit all the buttons, just like your fake cousin, Matt Schaub, could make all the throws. I love it. That is fantastic. Yeah. So Tulumbra, hey, same. Just same. Just same. Like, there's people you look at their lives and you're like, ooh, maybe I want to be them for a day. I no, I'm not thinking that. Not thinking that at all. Let's see. Eddie Lyons says, given that the entire crypto industry is a giant Ponzi scheme, how could anyone argue that argue other than anything SBF did through FTX or Alameda not to be a giant fraud by definition? Man. So I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm not a crypto guy. I don't invest in crypto. I don't buy crypto. I don't think it makes sense for most people, but I also have a policy of not investing in things that I don't believe that I understand. So I like to invest in companies that I actually feel like I know what their business is. Not that I could do it, but like I get it. And I don't well, so that's on the one hand, okay? On the other hand, to the extent that I understand crypto, it is designed by its like core principles for volatility. I don't need that. I don't know. I don't know who needs volatility. Look, you want to risk some money, make some money. That's great. Hope that works out, whatever. But like, I'm not trying to transact purchases on the dark web. And when I use what I call the regular web, the one that we're on right now, happy to use my credit cards. I just don't need crypto. I don't get it. It's just a way to make a lot of money fast and lose a lot of money, maybe even faster. And yet some people make money. I view crypto as a casino. It can be fun. It can be scary. You can make money. You can lose money. But like, I don't know. They do add liquidity in financial markets, which I get, but they're not effectively regulated. And I think that it's not necessarily a Ponzi scheme. It's just that human nature being what it is, that we tend to do things to hurt each other unless we're checked. It's not for me. All right. I mean, it's as far as I can tell, we all want to go get some burgers after this is over. That's the big takeaway. Or maybe I'm just hungry. I don't know. And Marcus Schaub stealing the words right out of my mouth. If you want to risk your money, like go have some fun at a casino. They have buffets. I feel like that's something that FTX never offered, to my knowledge. Jacob Kitty says SBF is teaching people the lesson that the Dutch taught us with tulips 500 years ago, and people still fall for it. Do not invest in speculative assets. So Jacob Kitty right now is sounding like Benjamin Graham or Warren Buffett. The only types of businesses that you should invest in are ones that are generating cash. Because if they're not generating cash, you are speculating that in the future somehow they will. But man, I mean, everything that every businesses go through periods where they're growing and are not producing as much cash as they should be. And I get it. The theory was that FTX was, a viable business. And in reality, well, I want to say in reality, it could have been a legitimate business. We'll never know. We will just never know if they could have survived the inherent volatility of cryptocurrencies. I don't know that, and you don't know that. So Kerwin asks, basically, you could compare a murder and a financial crime. If someone spent 20 years amassing the money that you stole from them, then that's the same as stealing 20 years of their life. That's analogous, but I don't love the analogy, and I'll tell you why. Because during that time that you're earning that money, dude, you're also experiencing the regular pleasures of life, friendship, family, food, watching football, like whatever it is. Like, yes, you work and they've taken your money, but it's not the same thing as destroying your life, meaning taking it from you. And not only that, but obviously, when you take a human life, you're taking that life from the people to which those people are connected, right? And so it's not a one-to-one analogy. I get where your head's at. And I was kind of saying, like, look, if one little financial crime is like this and you barely want to punish it, if they commit that crime on a billion-y type scale, it makes it really hard to compare. It really does. Hey, dude, Jacob Kitty, all I'm saying is that you're like an old guy that drinks diet cherry Cokes and lives in Nebraska. I mean, is Warren Buffett even smart? I don't know. All he ever does is buy stuff. He never sells anything. Oh my, I got myself a little bit tickled here. So I'm loving your comments. There's no fresh ones right now. So I want to talk with you guys about some of the things that I picked up on from SBF's testimony. And I talked about this in my video that the VOD from a couple hours ago, which is, how can I say this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a deep breath and a sip of water, collect my thoughts. He claimed to not know stuff whenever it was convenient for him. Instead of demonizing one guy or woman, whatever, equal opportunity, shyster, I'm sure he is, but demonizing one guy, let's say Wong or Singh. Look, it's not going to work to convince the Department of Justice, right? That ship sailed. Those guys fled to the DOJ to blow the whistle. That's fine. But he doesn't have to convince everyone. To get out of this trial, to win this round, he needs one juror. And instead of just saying like, oh, I don't really know how stuff worked, I didn't really look into that, I'm not really sure, what he did instead was, no, I'm sorry, that's what he did. What he should have done is he should have picked out a guy. I mean, I hate to pick on Wong. Feels wrong to pick on him, but SBF doesn't care about morals maybe in the same way that you and I do. He's willing to pretend that he doesn't know stuff at trial. So he's willing to say things that he knows to not be true. So the better strategy, if you don't care about perjury, and I'm not recommending that any of you guys try this, and I'm not recommending that he try it. I'm just saying, I think it would have had a better potential outcome for him to get a little W in the trial. So if he just picked one guy and blamed him. And even in that context, he could have said, oh yeah, of course, Wong ran to the DOJ because he knew that I was going to blow the whistle on him. Of course he ran there. He knew that if he didn't turn himself in and take a plea and try to point the finger at me, that he was going to go away for a long time. I don't think it would have worked, but I also was not a big fan of him testifying because I'm not a big fan of people lying. Like, I know there's a lot of lawyers out there that think that juries are dumb and you can trick them or whatever. I just don't think that's how it works. I think the reason that we have 12 people on a jury instead of 3 is that you get a group of people together doing their level best to pay attention. They're usually going to come to the right result, usually, in my opinion. That's my thoughts. What? Yeah, Chris, you're mean when you talk about hypothetical, abstract versions of philosophical morality. Effective altruism, yes. So, SBF has been said by Ellison to be a utilitarian. He's someone who thinks that the only thing that makes an action right or wrong is the effect that it has. Well, I'm oversimplifying it, but I'm just a simple attorney. And he's saying, like, if I can do the most amount of good by lying, or like in his version, maybe make the most amount of money by lying to people, then that ultimately is the highest good. And so that's what he's going to do. And so by not telling the truth on his cross-examination testimony, and really his direct testimony as well, he was helping out the prosecution 100. Actually, the deal is, I think that he probably gets convicted either way, but man, he why am I not able to remember the prosecutor's name right now? The one that was crossing him. Someone hit me in the comments. I'm feeling so dumb right now. We're looking it up. Who examined him? You have it? All right. So someone tell me in the comments. But anyways, yeah, Danielle Sassoon. So he made Danielle Sassoon. Thank you, ban the BBC HD. Yes, 100%. He made Danielle Sassoon look like a genius. Now, is she a genius? Probably. Okay. She did great in law. Well, she got into law school. She did great in law school. She talked her way into, no, when I say talk, I mean, she performed her way into a position where she clerked on the U.S. Supreme Court. They do not give those things out to normal people, not even normal attorneys like me. So she's smart, but man, his strategy of not being willing to answer a straightforward question like, did you tell your customers that you protect their assets? She just beat him up so bad. I feel like her plan was to set a trap for him so that he'd be caught in a lie. And he was like, that's nothing. With my skills, if we work together, we can set like 80 traps. Now let's get to it. Really bad news. Hey, Mark Walters, I don't even know what normal is. And I quit caring a long time ago. I'm just trying to be me and take care of the people around me. So I don't know. Are you normal? Do you know anyone that's normal? I don't. So what are some other things that we wanted to cover from, well, I really wish that I had more of an update from today's testimony. I was able to take in one journalist who was in the overflow room. She wasn't in the trial room. She ran out at lunch and uploaded a video, and it doesn't have that much in it. But what she told us, assuming that it's true, was that the cross-examination had already rested, which I guess means that Danielle Sassoon had plunged her knife into him so many times that it was too dull to keep stabbing. They rested. And there was a mercifully short redirect. Just to be clear, and I'm not trying to use fancy words, but when a party who has a lawyer or the party himself calls a witness and examines that witness, that is a direct examination, meaning you are being examined by the person who wanted you on the stand. Now, got to put a little asterisk there, ding, because oftentimes your adverse party who doesn't put you on the stand as a witness, they want you there too, because they want to score some points with you. So, you get a direct examination. And then after that, you get a cross-examination. And that is the questioning from the attorney for the other party. A cross-examination is typically questions that require way shorter answers, like yes and no, and questions where the lawyer, generally asking the question, already knows what the answer is. Now, I have not always done my cross-examinations like that. And a lot of lawyers don't do their cross-examinations like that, where you only ask questions that you know the answer to. Usually, yes, usually, fine. However, a better rule of thumb, in my experience, is to ask questions where there is no good answer, where a yes is bad and a no is bad. And Sassoon did that in spades. And that is why SBF had to pretend like he didn't know the answer to certain questions. And let me give you an example. When she says a question like, did you ever tell your customers that you safeguarded their deposits? If he says yes, then she gets to just beat him up by the fact that 13 billion of those asset dollars, customer dollars, went out the side door to his investment company. So can't say yes, because that's real bad. If he says no, then she just puts the document in front of him that shows that in writing over and 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 over. That's a Marshawn Lynch reference if you like your short YouTube clips. Oh my word, that guy is unbelievable. They said in writing they safeguard their assets, the customer assets. So you're lying if you say that you didn't. So what did he do? He would say, I don't remember. I don't know. And I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know that we would have worded it that way. And in one like very painful exchange, and it wasn't safeguard assets. It was, but it was like that. It was two words. And she said, she put a document in front of him. She said, and what are the first two words of this document? And it was like safeguard. He didn't want to say the second word. So she's like, okay, that's the first word. What's the second word? Assets. I mean, it's just painful. It is painful to watch, because I've been there, and actually every lawyer that is willing to tell you the truth has been there. They have represented a client in court on the stand who cannot answer a question, because a good cross-examination question a good cross-examination question ideally doesn't have a good answer. And that's the direction that she went with a lot of them. And that is the same way that you go to get to the jailhouse for SBF. And it worked. I think he's going to be there a while. I gotta rub my eyes, friends. Sorry. Yeah. All right. I also think I have about 10 minutes left. So if you've got questions, get them in there. And Ryan Stodmeyer says, I seem like a crypto guy. What does that mean? That I'm super dumb or I'm super smart? No, I'm not a crypto guy. I don't get into it. It's just not for me. But thanks for asking. Are you a crypto guy? None of your business says, can I define the intent to commit fraud necessary to convict? Reckless indifference to the truth or falsity of a representation. Sassoon proved this repeatedly. Reckless indifference is not going to get you all the way to fraud. You need intent. And so Oh, I cannot wait to answer this next question. You need intent, and Sassoon got him there. Now, just to be clear, Sassoon didn't get intent through SBF. She got intent through the witnesses that they flipped, which is Ellison, Singh, and Wong. That's how she won the case. Remember, they rested. They didn't call SBF. They can't call SBF because he's the criminal defendant and he has a right to, which he can't do because he's a talker. And she doesn't need him to prove anything. It was just icing on the cake for him to take the stand, in my opinion. And now, Mark Walters, this is the last poll of you all who are in here with me right now that I am going to ask. And poll is probably like a feature on here that I'm supposed to know how to do, but I don't. And that's fine. But the poll, the question is, how long will it take the jury to come to a decision? And I will read off every single guess, hypothesis that you guys put in there. Although my producer is motioning to me like there isn't going to be a written poll, and that's fine. I think for a minute she thought there was. That's fine. You were satisfied with reckless indifference. Okay, well, he had criminal intent. So how long is the jury going to deliberate? 15 minutes, says Eddie Lyons. Eddie, love you, buddy, but I'm going, it's too low. It's too low. Mama 1968, 3 hours. Man. Ooh, that's not crazy. That's not crazy. If you made me take an over-under on this, I think I would. Let me see what some other guesses are, and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, we got 30. Wait, what happened? We got Iceland calling. Hey, Iceland, America answering. You say 36 hours. Now, those Icelandic hours, are y'all in the same system as we are? I know that the sun is up for longer during the day there, so I don't actually know how long your days are. And I know that your wintertime nights are like crazy. That's fine too. Mark Walter says a day or so. Dude, the vagueness, do not appreciate a day or so. No, I want numbers. We're doing numbers right here, people. 3 days, one random clarifying question to the judge. This is a great comment because, dude, in every jury, I think honestly, in every single jury trial I've been in, the jury has sent a written question out to the judge, and they're always just a little off. And it's always, as the lawyers, you're like, oh, I wish they weren't asking that. Not because I don't want them to know it, but because I think they already should know it. And so it's a little frustrating. Froggle says 6 hours. Froggle, that's not a bad guess. One dude is going to be a crypto and refuse to convict. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I know that's Sam Bankman-Fried's kind of best case scenario. But man, have you looked at the jury? They're mostly females. So the chances of one of the females being a crypto bro is pretty low. I hope I'm still allowed to say that, but I think it's true. And also, none of them really fit the profile. And they were vetted for those issues during voir dire. So I don't know about that. But Ryan, you didn't answer the question, which is how long are they going to deliberate? Chosen Chang says 7 hours. Okay, you and I are speaking similar time frames here. 5 hours from Marcus Schaub. 2 hours due to technical questions. Now, none of your business if they've got technical questions. 2 hours is not long at all. Not long at all, man. Ryan, you can laugh. You can laugh all you want, man. I don't get it. I'm requiring people to use their common sense and say that there's going to be some pressure in that jury room that's going to squash the crypto bros out of there. Now, I'm not swearing that he's going to get convicted. He actually could get a hung jury. He could. I don't. This is not the kind of case where he didn't give the jury anything to hang on. He didn't actually do them a favor. Oh, he should have just gone after one person. Tulumber says 5 hours. Yeah, so you make a good point about how long the trial has been. So there's two ways to think about this. One of them is like the jury's like, dudes, we know what happened, right? We just got to convict and get out of here. Another mindset could be, and this is not the way that I think, but it's not the way that I process information, but there are people who process this way, and you want to give them space to breathe and think and do everything else that you do when you're on a jury and in a jury in the room. They process by wanting to go back over everything because, again, they're not sentenced. They're not sentenced. The judge is not going to sentence him to 3 months. This is a big deal, and it's a massive sentence, and they want to get it right. And so there are some people who are going to say, well, we heard so many hours of testimony. We heard from so many people. We just owe him the decency to walk through all the evidence. And I'm not going to say that those people are wrong. But the way that most juries operate is step 1, nominate a foreperson. Step 2, take a poll and see where everyone is right now on the issues. If they have an agreement, well, that's pretty easy. They're going to be done. Step 3, if they don't have an agreement, people are going to start making the case. They want to review everything. They want to try to get on the same page, and then they're going to vote again and see what happens. And Eddie asked if jury selection would have weeded out the crypto bros, and the answer is it's sure supposed to. Not because crypto bros don't deserve to be on a jury, but in our system, you have to be able to say truthfully that you would give a fair and considered and unprejudiced ruling based on everything that you learn in the trial and not coming in with preconceptions. Now, we all come into every case with preconceptions. And honestly, I don't know why a crypto bro couldn't be on this jury. They would be mad at him. I mean, a lot of people had money exposed to the platform and lost. So, yeah, VTR, there is a chance for a hung jury. The jury they are not instructed by the court on how long a potential sentence could be. Now, they may know just because of, using common sense, but they don't know. He didn't, dude, Ryan, no, he didn't charm them. He didn't charm them at all. He was like annoying and combative and like, kind of fiendishly ignorant when it benefited him. No, he did not charm anybody. The Alec Baldwin case, 3 hours. Yes. There are some similarities. Alec Baldwin, just about to get a cease and desist letter from Alec Baldwin's lawyers. Now, I did do a video one time after he got charged when I said he would not get convicted and the charges would get dismissed, and I was proved right. But the comment was about Alec Murdaugh, and the answer is they were pretty sure that he did it. 3 hours is really fast. It's just really, really fast. You're trying to pose insane circumstances for me. Dude, I got enough insanity in my life without you trying to pose it. But I am being told that I have run out of time because I was only supposed to go live for 1 hour, and that's up in 17 seconds. If you have not subscribed, look, it's free. I don't charge you for my time on YouTube. I give it away. So don't you want to get a little bit more of it? get the notifications, so you turn the bell on, etc. But more than that, honestly, I would love it if you think that you have a friend who would like my take on things, just share a couple of my videos with them. That would be so, so, so awesome. And I will be back on Friday with another video, a VOD. I won't be live. And I just appreciate it, everybody. So great to see you guys. Appreciate you all talking with me. Take care.